That's deep, Dr. Phil. Now, someone in the chat room is saying that it seems like time is speeding up. So if it is, I mean, do we speed up or do we do the opposite?
That's interesting. Time is an element. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Time is the provider of all of what we see as physical life. All life has stages of expression. It goes from time, space, let me see, there's time, space, sound, light, fire, air, fire, water, and earth. These are the principles of how time folds itself into being. Time is an element. It's what sets the precedent for life to become on the material realm. Without time, there is no material expression of life. All material expression of life lives based upon a time signature that time provides for it to exist. So time seems to be speeding up only because your consciousness is stuck in the old paradigm that essentially makes you believe that the body that you have and the sensual expressions that it gives you, the lust it has, the hungers, the different types of thirsts and all this is what makes you believe that time is speeding up. It's because your mind is not keeping up with the consciousness dictates that is supposed to be happening. Time seems to be speeding up only to those who are not interfaced with the time that the universe is in. Right now, the kind of food you're eating, the kind of things that you're thinking about, the kind of temporal, very low energy material gain and fear keeps you believing that time is outpacing you. That's because your body is living in retrograde time.
And speaking of time, I know they talk about the Mayan calendar 2012, but also the parasites have messed with time. They changed the clocks and the calendars. So how do we know if we're, right on target?
But you see, again, whatever time, the Gregorian calendar is based upon a slave maintenance paradigm. The Gregorian calendar essentially is based upon commerce. It's based upon the Europeans' consciousness structure. Our time, we had like 4 or 5 different calendars. And the long count calendar, the short count calendar, our calendars were based upon growing. Our calendars were based upon building a house. Our calendars were based upon specific time frame references with which how do you build a house and where do you position the furniture and so forth. We had different calendars for every part of our lives. That's because the European keeps us in this one calendar that we have. For us to deal without that is to not use the calendar as our main reference for time. You have to get inside of yourself. What we teach is you have to become more knowledgeable of the time that the universe has set within you. Your clock is running on universal time inside of you, in your genetics. But they have you preoccupied with the time that they have now orchestrated based upon them getting you addicted to their time cycles. When you have to have your coffee in the morning, when you got to get up to go to work, when you got to go to sleep, when you watch football, when you have sex. All of these are time references that they've placed on you. You have to examine from the time your foot hits the floor in the morning to the time you pick it back up to go back to bed at night. What have you done in that day that belonged to you? What time frame reference belonged to you?
And someone also is saying in the chat room that that we are multidimensional, that we can be in different dimensions and time at the same time.
Yes, that's true. But guess what? How do you access the next vibratory frequency of yourself to the next? You can't. We are multidimensional entities. All living forms are living on different dimensions. In fact, you are nothing more than a projection from one dimension into this dimension. So what it is that you are a multidimensional creature, but again, you're in lockdown. Just imagine that you are in a jail cell. And what we see as white light on the present spectrum and the spin particle and the spin dynamics of the atom and the particle on this level, just imagine what light is. You know what white light really is, right? You can tell me what white light really is. It's broken down into 7 colors. Well, just imagine that those 7 colors are actually the bars of your prison. And that you only see within that spectrum of consciousness. And that therefore you have to now resonate all the elements in your body, all the particles, all of the atoms have to spin at a faster rate, and they can't spin at a faster rate if you're over there chomping down McDonald's or you sucking down all kind of crap into your system. Every time you eat filth and garbage, you slow the rate of your dynamics. You slow the rate of your atomic and particle spin. And therefore, the more you slow that down, the lower your consciousness is, and you ain't never going to get into your multidimensionality. It's when you're purifying, when you're cleansing and you're eating the right foods and you're in a higher frame of mind that you begin to pick up any kind of reference to your multidimensionality. That's why people who are addicted to crack and drugs, who have very high Neptune in their astrological signs, like Pisces, these people are perfect candidates for addiction because they have this high quality energy, that Neptunian energy that wants them to see psychic things, and because they don't know how to reference it, their subconscious wants them to escape the body to actually interface with who they are, so they get easily hooked on drugs.
Wow. Now, someone else is asking, well, they're saying that we are seeing that the parasites are organized. Is there an opposition leader or group to fend them off?
I will not talk about that on this phone.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, but now you're saying that individually we can get out of this prison. You just broke that down for us.
Yes. It has to be something that you come to clarity with. There is an inventory that we must all do for ourselves. There is an inventory that we must take that will reveal to us just how bogged down we are in the illusion that they have created. And to do that, it takes a little while. But with perseverance, with continued dedication or livocation towards that, you become more and more aware of who you are essentially. There is an essential self, and then there is this superficial self. You have been preoccupied. You have paid all your attention to the superficial self. You have fed the superficial self. You have aggrandized and entertained the superficial self all your life, because that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to be more entertained and entertained about who you are. So your superficial self is all you know. But the essential self has gone untapped. It has disconnected. And when you get back to understanding and understanding the essential self, then it begins. Otherwise, just telling you certain things like this, I can't tell you this within an hour like this. I can't tell you what to do in an hour. Each person is individual. I can give you an overview, but then it doesn't make sense, because then we're dealing with what I call fast food. You know, it's like you want to get something to eat, let's go ahead and pass by the window and grab a Mickey D. burger. That's the same kind of mentality that's got us so superficial today.
Mm-hmm.